here to talk some video game stocks. And of course, the video game stocks, Jenny, have been winners as well throughout 2020.
Yes, they absolutely have. And I have to say, I think that you all might be better experts in video games than myself. But I did talk to a few of my friends who are avid video gamers, and they said, due to the fact that for so long there was no restaurants, there were no concerts, there was no sporting events, there wasn't even sports on. I remember when The Last Dance came out, it was like, finally we had something to watch again. Video games have kind of taken the place of so many of these activities. Plus, video games are the perfect stay-at-home activity because you don't have to go anywhere or see anyone. So I do know a lot of people that have joked they've spent a lot more time playing video games, and this is reflected in all these different companies' stock prices. I mean, Take-Two's up 38% this year. They are falling a little bit with the broader market. They're down about 3% today and 2% this week. But I mean, Activision's up 35% this year. EA is up 25% this year. So the sector as a whole has seen this strength. Now, the news today on these video games is that the standard price for video games is going to possibly increase to $70. Now, this will be for the next generation PlayStation and the next generation Xbox that will release sometime this holiday season. So this ends 15 years of $60 games. Now, to me, I'm like, $10, what's the difference? But, you know, this is actually pretty significant when you think about the fact that a $70 price tag for a game is steep. And Activision, the last time there was a price increase was Activision actually upped their Call of Duty 2 price to $59.99. Again, 15 years ago. So I couldn't believe how long there's been this $60 price tag that will then come with these new consoles. Now, of course, Microsoft-owned Xbox is going to come out sometime in November, and then Sony has said its PS5 will release sometime this holiday season. So things to look forward to if you're spending a lot of time gaming, and certainly people are, but right now the buzz on social media is all about NBA 2K21, which will release tomorrow, and this has kind of a cult-like following. It's crazy because people really, really are excited for this next game and excited for just something new to do, you know, while we're all at our houses. So that kind of brings me to our first tweet, which says, NBA 2K21, it's one of the most successful gaming franchises ever, and it's releasing in 3 days. Now, it releases tomorrow. This tweet is from 2 days ago, but it says, Take-Two, NBA 2K, and other several very successful franchises under its belt. So Take-Two could possibly see a pop on this release if well received, of course. We'll have to wait and see how this release goes. A lot of times there could be mixed reactions, but Take-Two, it seems like, is really poised to benefit from, you know, releasing this new game, especially in a time when we have so much time to play video games. Now, I mentioned this sector has seen obvious strength, and Alex, you mentioned that as well, and that kind of brings me to our next tweet, which talks about all the different sectors that have benefited from, you know, the stay-at-home movement. So our next tweet says, some examples of industries where I'm comfortable placing my bets are online gaming, social media, SaaS, cloud, fintech, and online advertising. You will never see me invest money in the banking, oil, airline industry. Those are out of my circle of competence. Now, of course, for oil and airline, they've gotten crushed lately, but all of these things that this tweeter listed all falls into the tech sector, which we can't stop talking about tech. Now, they've had a rough few days, but relatively, tech has had crazy outperformance and doesn't really show signs of slowing. Even the chip makers, like say in NVIDIA, is up 128% this year on, you know, just the fact that we're all using these data processors so much more, being that we're at home playing video games on our computers, on our phones. But Kevin, what I'm curious about is in the long term, once things start opening up, you know, we have sports, we have concerts again, will people be playing less video games? Or we won't be home forever, right? I hope not.
Jenny, I can throw myself into that group of people that know less about video games than even Jenny Horn does. Although I can claim that I've bought several hundred of them. So it's a little depressing that they're going from $60 to $70 because though I don't play them, I often pay for them. So now let's get back to these names. This is an industry that has been buoyed by the stay-at-home. Clearly, more purchases, more disposable income going towards video games. So you know they've benefited. But you've got to think there's going to be a small to medium drop-off as we get good news on a vaccine, on the coronavirus, like we got yesterday. So that being said, you know, Take-Two is down 3% today. Why? Because the overall market's down. Very few stocks up at these levels that we're currently at are going to be able to escape a broad market sell-off. So you've got to trade them accordingly, and there's no escape from a broad market sell-off. Now, these companies will still do extremely well, and we should trade them accordingly and use these dips to enter them in a more strategic way, guys.
Yeah, no, and Kevin, we have all this inflation talk. Well, apparently the video games are the first signs of it. That'd be a 15% increase roughly, going from 60 to 70. And hey, I guess with average inflation, that averages out to 2% or whatever over time. So we'll see. Maybe that's kind of what the Fed was hoping for. Maybe we're starting to see it in the video game space. But Jenny, we got to run. Good stuff as always. We say goodbye to Jenny. We want to welcome in Landon Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio.com, to the program here to join the conversation. Landon, you got a bit of a story for us here that you wanted to lay out, and kind of how the dominoes work once the video game stocks are doing well, how that impacts other industries. I'm really interested to hear it.
Sure. So, just like Jenny mentioned, NBA 2K21 comes out tomorrow. Big one for Take-Two Interactive. You can actually see, if you pull up their chart on the mentions of people talking about buying any of their products, which isn't just NBA 2K, it's Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, and some others. You can see when NBA 2K is released, just even though it's in the overall chart of the company. It's about every September. And they're coming out tomorrow. It's a really anticipated title and has a huge impact on the company's bottom line. Now, what's interesting is last year, even though it was a big release as far as purchase intent, the happiness of it was down quite a bit. It's normally about a 60% happiness. Last year was in the mid 40s, so very low. The company overall hangs around 60. So I think that it's very important that they have a good release, and you can actually see the stock struggled a little bit after last year's release. But you can see when they release these games, there's big spikes, and we've got another one that we're about to see. And so that's obviously very important for Take-Two. Now, there's a lot of companies that are doing well. Xbox, PC gaming, PlayStation, Nintendo, they're all up very big year over year from 50 to 100%. PC is about double. Xbox, again, about double. And they're all taking advantage of this work from home, stay at home, play at home. And what's interesting is, yes, gaming is up big time. I think it's up 170% year over year. And that gaming has a bit of an addictive quality. So it's not, I don't think that if we just all of a sudden open things back up, all these guys that have been, sitting in their basement playing games, kind of getting hooked, are going to all of a sudden start going out and put their games away. So they're becoming gamers for life. And there's a lot of beneficiaries of this. Obviously, the gaming companies, the ones that we've talked about, but then there's also the underlying ones like NVIDIA, who has been doing extremely well. If you look back over several years, you can see the purchase intent of NVIDIA ramping up slowly and steadily, and really almost becoming exponential as the stock price is doing the same now. So we've currently got NVIDIA up about 53% year over year. They've got a new graphics card set to release in about 2 weeks. And you can see that it is just crazy what this purchase intent has done. If you go back to 2014 versus now, we are at over 10x the levels of purchase intent just for this company, NVIDIA, and the stock has taken off tremendously as well. 80% happy on this company. Another one that I want to talk about is Logitech. They are benefiting from not only the gaming sector, because you've got mice and keyboards and headsets that people are buying, but you've also got work from home. So people need more webcams. They need to upgrade their home computers, that kind of thing. Again, same kind of chart. If you go back to 2012 versus now, purchase intent's been ramping up slowly and steadily, a huge spike since March, you can see. And of course, the stock follows. So the story that I kind of want to talk about is, if you go back to, say, the gold rush back in the 1800s, you didn't want to invest in the prospectors. You wanted to invest in the company that sold the pickaxes. That's what Cisco did. That's why they did great in the dot-com boom in the the late 90s. And that's what NVIDIA and Logitech are right now. So you've got a big movement towards gaming and working from home, and there are beneficiaries outside the primary companies. You got to look at who's supplying. So Logitech, NVIDIA, they don't care if NBA 2K has a good release. They just want more games out there. They want more people playing PC, Xbox, whatever it is. They want more people taking part, and they don't care who the winner is or what the best game is, but they're going to get a little bit of money from each one of those consumers.
Landon, I'm gonna tell you a story, and I want to see if what I'm saying correlates to what you're saying, because I think I see exactly what you're saying here. It's like the airline trade. You can buy one of the airline stocks, right? You could pick which one is best. But if you want to trade the airlines in one stock, maybe just trade Boeing, right? If you want to trade all these individual names, which one of these is the Boeing of this group? It sounds like to me it's Nvidia. So if you believe in gaming and believe in the market and believe in the trends in this sector, it sounds like you can buy all these individual names or just buy Nvidia. Am I onto something there, or am I missing?
No, I like NVIDIA. I think that NVIDIA's got a really good core set because they're in the background. They're the Boeing of these. They're the ones that are making the graphics cards, and they're powering a lot. They've also got cryptocurrency working for them as kind of a side hustle, right? So NVIDIA's doing really well there. Logitech is a little bit more direct consumer facing because you've got to have the best keyboard, the best mouse, and if you're working from home, the best webcam. And so they're also, I'd say, it's either NVIDIA or Logitech between the two. One is a little bit more back end, and that's NVIDIA. One is a little bit more front end consumer facing, and that's Logitech. But yes, they are both the ones that are fueling this drive. They're the ones that are going to benefit no matter which airline wins, no matter which of these gaming companies wins. They're going to be the ones that are sort of the Boeing that are supplying the back end to everything and making money. It's a great point, Kevin.